You say your ex-girlfriend called Tokoloshe to visit you. Can you tell us how that went down?
She told me that she wasn't coming back this time and that she was already gone. She knew I was out and that I was buying drinks for another girl at the club. She too had friends who went to the clubs. It was like she had spies everywhere. She sent me a picture that was sent to her. It was taken from across the place with a shaky phone camera, and it could have been anyone. I was going to text her back that nobody could tell who that was, but I knew it was me, and I knew that her friends would have recognized me. So it was just after midnight when I stepped out of the taxi in Brixton, on the west side of town, with the orange streetlights flickering, like they do. I'd paid the driver, and he didn't stick around. It's not as nice as it used to be around there. I was just stood there in the dust with my jacket over my arm because it was still warm. Joburg never really sleeps, but it was somehow different at that time. No traffic or shouting. I could just faintly hear a car alarm from down the road and the bugs. I stood there at the gate with my keys in my hand, thinking twice about whether I should go in. It was going to be different without her there. Lindiwe is the name. She threatened to leave months ago, the last time she caught me. But I laughed at her. "Where you gonna go?" I said. She was like, "You'll see," as she walked away. She'd do that, you see. She'd walk away mumbling, like she was cursing me or something. She wasn't one of those people, but she thought she was. She'd known about Zulu traditions growing up, but her mother was Christian and moved here to get away from that stuff. It was only after she actually left that I realized she'd go back to Soweto, to her uncle. I'd heard about her uncle, the Sangoma, witch doctor. People only whispered about him. He wasn't best known for being a healer, though. The first thing I noticed was the footprints. They were there in the house in the morning. I don't think I paid much attention at first. I just swept them away. The dust would blow in, and there was always something scurrying about. On the second day, I did a double take though, because I saw that it wasn't like a normal animal print. The prints were small, and I was thinking probably like a rat or a hyrax or a bush baby. They'd come in if the door blew open. But the door wasn't open. Also, they weren't together like a bush baby print. Because they hop with both feet. When I say small, I mean like 8 to 10 centimeters. But they almost look like babies' footprints. And I say almost because they were like the prints on the paper they give you in the hospital when you have a baby. Not like a toddler footprint. The other thing was that there were too many toes. They looked smudged at first, but then I looked closer, and it was like there was 6 or 7 distinct toe impressions in the dust on each print. I tried to put it out of my head, because I also knew some jokers. I also knew that Lindiwe still had the key. It was that same day that I noticed the traps. They were like pranks that had gone a step too far. I came home after work to find fishing lines strung low across the kitchen and things balanced precariously on ledges and sideboards. I heard it that night too, like giggling of a child, but rough and menacing. I sat upright in my bed, what was our bed when Lindiwe was there. She was superstitious, and our bed was 3 bricks high up. I said it was stupid at the time, but I'm glad now. Then the light from the street cast a shadow under the door as it ran past. I could feel that I wanted to shout, but instead I clasped my hands together and I prayed. I whispered apologies to the women I'd wronged and to the ancestors I'd ignored and to a God I'd only remembered through fear. That's when I got up out of my bed to chase away what I'd seen under the door. I got up barefoot and bolted to the door, which I pulled open quickly and stepped out. But there was a makeshift tripwire across the doorway, and I fell face first onto the wet tile. The hallway outside my bedroom had been flooded from a clogged toilet and sink in the bathroom just steps away from me.
I hit my head when I landed and just caught a glimpse of it before it darted for the door and away into the night. A tokoloshe. It was smiling at me. Not a friendly smile, but it seemed like the little bugger was waiting to see what would happen. Like it didn't get to watch very often. It was small and naked, soaking wet with wiry hair. Its skin was blue-grey and leathery, and it looked like an old man with a hunch. The thing's eyes were big and bulging, and its teeth looked like they were made from the brown and green glass of old broken beer bottles. On its way out, the thing grabbed my keys and threw them into the night as it disappeared. I picked myself up. I'd been down on the ground for only a handful of seconds, but when I got up, I noticed that my body was stinging from the dirty water. That's when I noticed that I was covered in tiny cuts to my torso, like claw marks from a feral kitten. I left Brixton that night. I packed just my duffel and headed north with nothing but a change of clothes and the regret for what I'd put her through. I had a friend in Pretoria. He owed me a favour, even if it only wound up being a couch to crash on for about a week. That was about 6 months ago, and I haven't heard from Lindiwe. But I'm told she went back to Joburg. I wish her luck. I don't think of her often, but sometimes late at night I still hear that echoey giggling from under the door. And I always prop my bed up 3 bricks high.